Great to be here. Thank you, Callum. Thank you, everybody at all the venues. It's fantastic to be able to meet people again in real life. I can't tell you how much I've been looking forward to seeing all of you, to seeing, Umbraco people get together again. It's just really, really amazing. My name is Phil. I think Callum already introduced me. I'm the CTO of Umbraco. Recently got that new title, and I'm really excited about that. I'll take you through some highlights of what has been going on with Umbraco and where are we going, and what can you expect from us as we go forward, and how do you influence where we're going. So those are kind of the main points of what I'll be saying today. And I want to just start by saying what an amazing time it is to be working with Umbraco. And take you through some numbers, some stats, some highlights to get us started out. Of course, I need to start with Umbraco 9. This was the biggest thing, of course, in all of, I would almost say all of history, at least in all of the last year for us in Umbraco. This was a huge thing. Worked on it for quite a while, and with all of us in the community. People at HQ, the community, just everybody. People have been super excited about this, and we are, we're still pumped with adrenaline from the launch, and it's fantastic to see that we're finally here with Umbraco running on .NET Core or .NET 5, and actually .NET 6 as of now, and that is really. It seems like it's really popular out there. We've already had 6 installed. 9. Some of these are installs, so pre-release installs. So a lot of you here, people helped us out by trying the pre-release, making sure that the 9.0 release was actually a final, like a solid release. Get started, and that was pretty sweet. We were very happy about it. We've already have 500 new projects in Umbraco Cloud running on Umbraco 9. Shows that people are interested and they want to try it out, and cloud is probably the easiest way to try it out. But I guess if you try it in cloud, it kind of feels like the Umbraco because you don't deal too much with all the stuff that has changed, and back office is the same, the experience is the same in Umbraco 9. All of you, all community, like we've really seen a vibrant community, not only this year, but in the last couple of years since the pandemic closed everything down. We've really seen the community, get together, help each other out. We've seen some of the meetups go from being a local thing to all of a sudden having a global audience, and doing very frequent meetups with lots of great speakers would normally not be in meetups. It's been fantastic to see, and excited to see which will go like from or are we gonna to physical events, or maybe some of them will that's a pretty exciting and we've seen lots of new community members in the last year. People community. I have a couple Oktoberfest in a little bit, and they were really, encouraging as well. Umbraco only a few in. We're continuing to open up. We're continuing to grow the community, and that's just amazing. We've had 17 new MVPs this year. The 45 of them, or 45 of the old ones, renewed. So there's more 60 MVPs. And I think this is really great. It really shows that there's people that are super committed and that are excited and helping out, volunteering their time and their for us, and we more happy about this. We've now 50, actually I think it is, gold partners, and that network is growing as well. And that it just shows that the reach of Umbraco continues to grow. The demand for Umbraco clients and projects continues to grow and expand, and I think that's fantastic news for all of us that kind of has our career on this path, and we will see that Customers will continue to come in. New projects will continue to get there. We'll probably continue to also have new colleagues and more colleagues as we go on. Last year we announced this new program called Contributing Gold Partners, a way for our gold partners to stand out in the big crowd of gold partners. And we now have 36 contributing gold partners. So these are partners that give their employees company time to work on open source work for us, or for projects aligned to Umbraco, or that organizes meetups or food conferences or anything like that. So this is a fantastic way to stand out. If you're in a gold partner, this is what you use to convince your boss that you should be able to have company time, if that's what you like. And talking about Hacktoberfest, this year we saw 244 PRs. Spam was a big problem of Hacktoberfest last year. This year it was get out and it worked really well. 244 high quality PRs from lots of different people. And I was saying lots of new contributors as well. And super excited about a number of contributors. I'm actually excited about that. I'm saying that we've got Umbraco at HQ. Security can handle lots of PRs coming in and actually getting them reviewed with the PR team, Sebastian and like all HQ, working on this, and we were able to merge half of the ones that targeted the CMS within the first CMS release of 9.1 that was out, I think last week. Within 2 weeks of Oktoberfest ending, we merged more than half of the PRs that came in. And that's pretty exciting, and that's a pretty good. I'm pretty excited about that. We've crossed 100 people at HQ now. About 35 of us in D team. I think there's a couple of student workers or stuff. If you count FTs, there's probably 32 or something like that. But lots of new faces. And this really shows as HQ grows, it's not just a trajectory where we will add salespeople and marketing people. We will continue to invest into the product because the product is the core of the business. And the product is what got here. And the product is what all of you in the community is caring about or is passionate about. We have seen 1,300 stations just in 2021 already. I think that number is actually a little higher now. I think the goal is 2,000 by the end of the year. And so there's a demand for certified developers out there. And again, it's a great way for you individually to stand out, or for your employer to stand out, to have certified experts or masters or whatever. I think this is a really fantastic number as well. And of course, this year we also did our first virtual conference. Had more than 2,000-3,000 participants. And I put participants in capital. Comparing to other conferences was participating with the Code Garden bar and people buying each other drinks or buying each other drinks, and on excited, and I can't wait to see how Code Garden will become kind of hybrid version. If you talk to Trine to beer later, and you can see if you can yet, but there will be a Code Garden 20, and it's gonna be kind of where you can be on site in Odense with us, and you can also choose to attend from home, be some kind of stream thing. It doesn't work?
No.
Sorry.
Turn the other one off because we'll get interference.
I'll do my best. There we go. Sorry. To those of you watching, I'm sorry if you didn't see anything, but I guess you saw me and you could see that I was really excited. The next thing is our community teams. I'm really excited about this. The people in the community that want to be a little more dedicated in their work and signs up to be part of a formal community team. It's still a volunteer thing. All of these teams have some kind of connection into HQ. But they're community run, and the community people really helps us in a lot of different areas. So you will see that the Unicore team is no longer on here. We retired that team as the focus of the team was to get Umbraco onto .NET Core, and with 9 that was completed. So we closed the team, but then we launched a new team, which is the back office team up here, with the back office team, of course, the focus is to work on the new back office, the rewrite of the back office. The number one question I get is still, when are we getting rid of AngularJS? And this is what this team will work on. I have a little bit more about that in a little bit, but I'm super excited that we've been able to gather a team of front-end experts, of extension makers or package makers that are passionate about making sure that the back office will continue to be flexible and open and welcoming to new people and easy to get started with. All of that while getting rid of all the technical debt that we have. Then we've released more than 32 releases for CMS just in 2021. About a year ago, at the Dukfest stream, I think, I announced that we would be going into like a release cadence mode where we ship releases on a fixed schedule, so you always know when the releases are coming. And we've been doing that all the way through 2021. So every 6 weeks, there's a new minor version for the CMS, but of course there's not 32 months in 2021. So some of these are also patches with bug fixes, or a couple of them are fixes for V7. And now with the release of 9, we've moved the cadence over to 9. So 9 will be the version of Umbraco that receives the new minor every 6 weeks. We've shipped more than 40 versions or 40 releases of Umbraco Forms. If you've been a long-time user of Forms, you've probably noticed, or you've hopefully noticed, that Forms has matured a lot over the last year or so. And this was really the result of us at HQ's wanting to invest back into this product. And I think it really shows that when we choose to invest in something, it makes a difference. We hired Andy, and a little bit after that, we hired Ronald to work with him. So there's now a 2-person team that works on Forms and Deploy. And it's been incredible to see how they've been able to, solve a lot of issues, add a lot of new features, and they're shipping new versions of Forms and Deploy all the time. To be fair, I think about half of the releases of Forms was due to one security issue that we found. And even though we didn't know of anybody exploiting the security flaw, we thought this was severe enough that we wanted to patch back to pretty much all versions of Forms that has ever existed, or at least back to version 3 or something like that. So kudos to Andy, of course, and Seb for doing a lot of the work. So this was really, really good, and it shows that sometimes we need to go above and beyond what we actually promise to keep everybody safe. And so if this is your first time you hear about this, please go home and update your forms if you're not on cloud. Of course, if you're on cloud, it works automatically. But if you're not, please go home and update your forms. But let's actually talk a little bit about Umbraco. When we talk about Umbraco, we kind of think of it as these 3 things: the product, the community, and the company. And lots of stuff has happened on all of these in the last year. If you were paying attention this summer, you've probably seen Kim show this timeline talking about the history of Umbraco, the different phases going from Niels Hartvig starting Umbraco in his basement because he was sick of working with Sidecore, all the way to building a great product, to opening up, being open source, building a big community, and then the second phase where we started building a proper company. And then with the third phase, where we want to accelerate where we are going, and Kim announced this summer that we were acquired by a private equity fund called Montero. And the number one question people ask me about this is this a game changer for Umbraco? Will everything change? How do we see this? And I think it's fantastic that I'm able to give you the same answer, even if you buy me 3 beers. I'll give you the same answer that I'll give you on stage. That I really think this is a good thing for Umbraco, and let me tell you why. Montero is they're nice people and all. I've met them a couple of times, and they're good people, and of course that's important. But they're basically buying a company that has more or less no intellectual property. So there's no, you know, there's forms and deploy and stuff, but I mean, the value of those are pretty minor. The value of the company is an open source project and all the community around it and all the happy partners and all the happy customers. So if they started messing with that, with all the values, how we do stuff, they would lose all the value of their investment. So don't be afraid of this. If it doesn't make sense from a business standpoint, and of course they're there for business, it doesn't make any sense to change how we work. What they want to do is accelerate the work that we're already doing. Make us focus on the right things, help us focus on the right things, and then accelerate it, make it happen faster. And I think we all want stuff to happen yesterday and not tomorrow. So I think this is really a good thing. I think you've probably heard Kim talk about Montero. I assume that you've heard this before. If you haven't, then come talk to me afterwards, and I'll tell you some more about it. But I think this is really a good thing, and the ability for us to be able to think not just 3 months ahead and saying, oh well, we had a good quarter, so let's hire some new people, but actually be able to think about where we want to invest. As I've shown, when we choose to invest in something, it makes a difference. So for us to be able to choose where we want to invest, even if it's not a short return on investment or before we actually have the money up front, they will allow us to start accelerating some of this. And I think this is a good thing. And then of course, talking about changes in Umbraco, we got a new what? It is. It's the same guy. Yes, we got a new CTO, and I know I've met at least some of you, maybe some of you yesterday at the Gold Partner Summit. I've met some of you probably online, but in Denmark we just had an election, so I was kind of inspired of if I was running for some kind of position, what would be my promises? What would be what I was gonna bring to this position? And I wanted to share this with you because I think this is important for you to know. So I put up these 5 focus areas for me. That's what I will spend my time on. It's about happy people. That's about the team at HQ, making sure that people are happy, that people are doing the right thing, that they're feeling good, that they're treated well, that they get to work on stuff that's fun. And I think this is super important. Then of course it's about great products. We need to build great products and continue to do that. The open source product, some of the closed source products that we have, we need to make cloud run super stable. We need to add new features to it. And then, an engaged community is super important for us. It's always been what Umbraco was known for, and I want to also just in front of you commit to this and saying this will be one of my focus area. It has been for the last year as well, but I'll continue to talk to you, to reach out to you, and I want your feedback. And don't be afraid to come talk to me. When I'm in a venue like this, it's always a little hard to go up to people that I haven't known before. So come over and talk to me. I really want to hear your inputs. I want to hear your ideas. And then it's about transparent communication. I want you to be able to trust what I say, that I'll tell you as much as I can, as much as I know. In almost all cases, I'll tell you as much as I know about where we want to go and where we're going. But in all of this, in changes like this, what we need to do is to stay true to our values. The values are not changing. This is the same way we've run Umbraco before, and this will be the way that we run Umbraco going forward. So with these changes coming, I think the most noticeable thing you will see is a little bit more of a focus on product management. So when being part of the Umbraco community, I think most of you know Niels Hartvig, the original founder of Umbraco, and he's no longer part of the company. And of course that is sad in some ways, and Niels has always had a fantastic vision for what he wanted to do with Umbraco. And no one can replace that, of course, inside of Umbraco. But who can replace it? It's all of us together. So whenever you hear me talk about product management, this is not like a business term. This is not something like that. This is about involving people, involving the right people, and that's all of you. It's all of our partners. It's all of our customers in the product development. So this is about not thinking that out of the ivory tower of HQ we can think we can, come up with all the ideas and come up with the right direction. We want to talk to you. We want to hear what your inputs are. So this is the change that you will see. We will be adding product owners to more and more of the team inside of HQ. We'll probably add a product manager to lead the overall efforts and to form the roadmap, and that will be in collaboration with all of you. We will, of course, as I was saying before, stay transparent in how we do it. We've been launching some initiatives over the last couple of years, most notably probably the RFC process, where anytime we want to change something major to the open source system, to the open source project, we do a formal RFC. We describe what we propose to change, and we open up for anybody to give feedback. And it's been great to see. We've done it a lot with Umbraco 9. We've done it a lot with the new front-end project. And it's been great to see, and we'll continue to do that. You can count on it. And of course, Umbraco will stay open source forever. This is part of who we are. It doesn't make any sense to change that in any way. And for us, open source, when we think about open source, we think about it as transparency and about contributions or contributors, or the combination of the two. We like to say open source is not about democracy. It doesn't mean that if you can get a lot of upvotes on your issue, you get to decide the future of Umbraco, and I think that goes for pretty much all of the open source projects that you run as well. It's the owner of the project that decides what the project does, but it's about being open in what we do. It's about having all the things out in public. There's no secret version of Umbraco that we work on and then we merge over to the public one. We do everything out in the open, and we'll continue to do that. And then it's about contributions from you, from outside, and we are super thankful for all of that. And I want to just underline again, the contribution is not only just a PR with code in it. A contribution could just as well be a comment on the RFC, a code review somewhere, or an idea, or feedback on an idea. This is all contributions towards the CMS or towards Umbraco in general, and we appreciate all of them. And talking about open source, we're announcing today a new project to start supporting sustainable open source. And this was actually an idea that was born out of the community. So if some of the parents of this idea is in here, thank you so much for making it, making us realize that we need to also support the open source projects that we rely on. So from December, we're starting out with picking 3 open source projects that Umbraco depends on. So the 2 of them are for the dependencies for CMS, and 1 is a dependency for cloud. And those are all open source projects, and they, as long as they live up to our code of conduct, we will financially support them for the next 12 months. And then in 12 months, we will reevaluate to see, are they still the right ones? Should we add more? Should we change some? How do we want to do all of this? So this is not going to make anybody rich. We're not going to pour lots of money at people, but we want to just encourage people to say, maybe you can take a day off from your work and work on this open source project instead of you having to, take time away from your family or take time away from, having a weekend. We want people to be able to run open source sustainably, and we want to support that. And with that, I'm about halfway now. So I thought we should, I kind of forgot what I was going to say here, but let's all just stand up really quick, so get some blood flowing in your legs. If you don't have a red lanyard in front of you, maybe give them a fist bump or something to whoever you're close to, or wave at people if that's more appropriate. You can do lunges or whatever you want, that's fine. Great. It's always nice. You can sit down now. The only point was to get some, some blood flowing and to keep people from falling asleep, hopefully. This venue is way too comfortable. I talked to Matt before, and I said, maybe we should ask everybody to sit on those coffee things, because they're really uncomfortable. So if you feel yourself starting to fall asleep, please sit on that. But let's actually talk a little bit about Umbraco 9. This was, of course, a huge thing for Umbraco in the last year. This was a historic release. I mean, there was a public plan. It was on time. Everything was out in the open. There were no big surprises. There was a process where you knew when releases would be there. And anytime we encountered any problems, we were transparent about it. And now I hear like I'm just telling you how good we were. But I'm really, really proud of this. Like we really did this the way we want to do it, the way we want to do releases going forward. And it is really like an era of predictability that we're going into with Umbraco. As I said earlier, like we announced a year ago that we would ship versions of Umbraco at certain times. And from Umbraco 9 on, now that we're on a more modern platform, we will actually start shipping major versions on a cadence as well. So every 6 months, there's going to be a new major version of Umbraco. So we're aligning them with the .NET releases that are November. So it's going to be November and then May, because that's 6 months from November. So you can expect Umbraco 10 to be May 22 and Umbraco 11 to be November 22. And they're aligned with the .NET releases to make it possible for you to always run on the newest tech stack. And then we've also aligned our long-term support versions with the .NET. So if you choose a .NET version of .NET that's long-term supported, the version of Umbraco that ships just a couple of weeks after will also be long-term supported. So we think that by doing major upgrades very often, they should be small, they should be easy to upgrade, you can kind of think of them as upgrading from 8.10 to 8.15 or something like that. So there should be an automatic migration and the work should be minimal, but of course there can be breaking changes in the major. That's why they're a major version of Umbraco, right? So we hope that everybody will stay on the newest version of Umbraco all the time and continue to migrate or to upgrade up. But if there are projects that can't, you can choose to stay on the long-term support. And for long-term support, what Microsoft does with .NET is giving you 2 years, so 24 months of full support where they fix bugs. And we're doing the same for Umbraco, and then we're actually going above and beyond and giving you another 12 months of security fixes on top of that. So if you choose to go for a long-term supported version of Umbraco, you can know and rest assured that you will be safe, have bugs fixed for 2 years, and security fixes fixed for another year after that. And of course, talking about support and stuff, I've also had a lot of people ask me about Umbraco 8, and I wanted to just also clarify that we will do one more minor version of Umbraco 8. And we've taken that off the release cadence, so I can't tell you exactly when this is out. But the reason why we're doing that is because we want to be respectful of all the community PRs that are already targeting version 8. And Sebastian and Emma and the team, they're going through them, figuring out which ones should really be for 9 instead, and which ones we want to get into 8. That's a huge pile of work, I'm sure you can imagine, and that will be happening over the next months. And I would hope that we would ship 8.18, the final version of 8, either by the end of the year or at least in Q1 of next year. But no promises on the date. Yeah, we have a couple of features that we want to get in ourselves as well, and as I said, 8.18 is the last release, and that will be long-term supported. So from whenever this ships, there will be a full 3 years support for this. So if your projects can't upgrade to 9, or it doesn't make sense to upgrade to 9, then get up to 8.18 and you'll be able to have security releases and security fixes for a long time. Umbraco 9 is, of course, all of the Umbraco that you know, but it's on a new technology platform. It's a pretty significant amount of work that went into making this happen. but it has really shown, like just using it, it really shows why this was worth it. Umbraco 9 is a lot faster than Umbraco 8. If you've tried it, I'm sure you'll agree that it is actually noticeably faster. This is not just a 5% thing or something like that. When you click around back office, everything just feels faster. When you browse the website, it renders faster. And it's just an overall super good experience to use. And I know that if you run one of the new fancy Macs like Callum, if you go to .NET 6, it's an even better experience to work on. It's modern, it's on the newest tech stack, and the point is that we want to now stay up to date. We want to always stay ahead of the curve. We don't want you to have to wait 3-4 years again before while we're behind. We want you to be able to trust that Umbraco will be on the forefront of technology as we go on. It's all the bells and whistles of new technology. There's so much new stuff coming. Every time there's a new release for .NET, there's new features in it, and it's amazing for us to be able to get all of this. Developers really love it. There's the tooling is so much better, and everything's just more fun. It's cross-platform now. We put the word cross-platform capable. This means that you should be able to run Umbraco on any platform now. We're avoiding the word supported, mostly just because we're not ready internally at HQ to say that we formally support it. We do run all the unit tests on multiple platforms, so we know that the product works when we release it. But we're not ready to say, ask our SWAT or our first level support about stuff that's related to Unix, and they'll be able to answer all your questions. We're not there yet. We will be. It is where we want to go, but we're not there yet. So for now, you can trust that it works. But if you have issues, maybe ask each other, or ask us. But we might not be able to give you all the answers. Then Umbraco 9 is less voodoo. More best practices. One of the cornerstones of Hartvig when he started Umbraco was that he wanted it to be super easy to work with, super easy to get started. We kind of coined this as friendly. Like we wanted to be a friendly CMS, not just from a user experience point, but also from a developer experience point. But the .NET platform has evolved so much since we started that a lot of what Umbraco used to do is now replaced by best practices. Now dependency injection is part of how .NET works, and there are multiple places where this is the case. And in all of these, like it has been a case-by-case situation where we've talked it over at HQ, saying, do we want to go with the best practice, or do we want to keep it friendly, or keep it like familiar to everybody who knows Umbraco? And you'll see that some things, in some scenarios, we've gone with the best practice approach, and I've seen lots of people really happy about that. But of course, also some people think that we should have chosen the other one, and that's a fair point. And I want to also commit to, we want Umbraco to still remain friendly at the core. And wherever we're taking stuff away that could seem more unfriendly, we want to bring the friendliness back. So talk to us about how do we do this? Do you have ideas? We want to make it so that you can follow the best practices of .NET, so you can build your projects like you would if you were running without Umbraco. But we still want this to be true. So when you see issues like this, talk to us about them. We want to hear your feedback. We want to hear your ideas on how we can make this happen. This is really important to us. Umbraco 9, of course, has been a huge effort from HQ and the community in general. The Unicore team, they've done an amazing job. They've really spent a lot of time on it. I know a couple of the gold partners have earned their contributing badge with having people on the team, and it's been a great experience. They've really helped us a lot, validating ideas, reviewing lots of code, actually submitting some code, and that's been fantastic. And if you watch the live stream with the release in it, at the end, we read up all the names of everybody who contributed. And to me, like, it was almost sentimental. Like it felt so good that it took so long to read out all the names. It was just such a heartwarming feeling that this was not just 10 people in the ivory tower working on something and then a little community team that helps out. We had more than 120 contributors to Umbraco 9, and this really shows that this is a big community. There's lots of people that are super involved and that want to help us build our products. And we're just really, really happy about this and really humble about this. So thank you to all of you who did this. We had more than 1,200 contributions, so the easy math said that it's not for the individual contributor on average, they do 10 contributions. So it's not just doing a single line change somewhere. It's actually significant contributions, and we're just super excited about this. About half of the number of installs that I mentioned earlier is actually before we did the release. And I've had people come up to me and say, I tried Umbraco 9 and it was a 9.0 release and it feels so ready. It feels so mature, and that's thanks to all of you. We had so many installs of the pre-releases, people trying it out and reporting back bugs, helping us fix the bugs, and this is what made Umbraco 9.0 a success and something that people would actually build their websites on from day one. So thank you to all of you who tried it out and reported bugs. This was fantastic. We have more than 90% of the documentation ready already for 9. I would say that that's more than the .NET framework from Microsoft does. And we have more than 50, and I think the number is actually 60 now, because this number continues to grow. Packages available for Umbraco 9 on .NET Core. And this really shows that when we do stuff out in the open, when we do it transparently, when we have lots of pre-releases, all of you, all of the community that works on packages, they want their packages to be there as well. This is what makes Umbraco stand out from just a regular CMS, is that we have a super alive and vibrant community with lots of packages that fills all the gaps that the CMS doesn't have or shouldn't have. So thanks to all of you who made this happen as well. Of course, we shipped forms as well for 9 on day 1, and since then we've added a lot of new features to forms, and we'll continue to ship updates to forms for 8 and 9 for the foreseeable future. I think Andy more or less said until we have to do a breaking change, we will try not to, so that we can multi-target and actually ship forms to both platforms. So you're not stuck with an old version of forms, even if you're stuck on Umbraco 8. And the same goes for deploy. It was on there from day 1. Of course, it's super central to our cloud offering. And last year we started using deploy or selling deploy for on-prem versions or for on-prem scenarios as well. So if you like the deploy experience of cloud, but you can't use cloud, this is a great opportunity for you, but it's actually also a way for you to start out in cloud and then migrate out of cloud if you have issues with cloud, or the other way, if you have a project that will eventually go into cloud, if you use deploy on the on-prem version, migrating over to cloud is super easy. You just add cloud as an environment and push, and then everything's in cloud. So this is really a good opportunity. And of course, as I was saying, Umbraco 9 was in cloud from day 1, and it's a fantastic experience to work with 9 in cloud. If you've tried 8 in cloud, it's pretty good, but I want to just say how much better it is in 9. In 9, we've changed some stuff around about how cloud works. So when you use Umbraco 9, you no longer commit DLLs. We will actually do a build for you in the cloud, and that means that you can have your own source code in the same repository and do it like you would if it was not in cloud. And I think this is a really good point of, if you haven't tried cloud for a while, you should try it out again. Cloud has become a really great product. It's really stable. It's on Azure Web Apps now, and with 9, it's a fantastic experience. And just to say a little bit about cloud, we want cloud to be the best place in the world to host Umbraco. And we know that historically it hasn't always been, but we want to commit to this. This is, of course, I'm sure you all know that this is how we, finance most of what HQ does. I don't want you to buy a cloud out of pity or out of trying to help us. We want you to buy a cloud because it's the best way to run Umbraco. And of course, that starts with reliability. With the switch, we've launched a new infrastructure on cloud, and since then, cloud has run a lot more smooth, and we've had one incident since we changed, and the noticeable thing is that instead of hitting all of the projects, it hit only a small subset of projects on cloud, and the response time or the fix time was a lot shorter than normally. So we were actually able to keep up our SLAs even though we had an incident on cloud, and it's great to finally be there, because I mean, I'm sure you all know that there will always be somebody tripping over a wire or a drive stopping to work or something like that. There will always be issues here and there, but it's super nice that we're at a place now in cloud where only a few sites are actually affected if there's a problem, and they're super fast to recover. But as I said, reliability, that's really just a hygiene factor. We need that to be there, otherwise no one's going to choose cloud. But developer experience is what will make people choose cloud. We want to make it so that cloud is your preferred way, your preferred place to host Umbraco, not because it sounds like it's Umbraco, and it is, but because it saves you time. And at the end of the day, that either makes you more money or makes you more competitive towards your competitors, that you're able to do stuff faster. And that's what we want. We have lots of ideas about this, and I'll come back to a couple of them in just a minute. But I want to just say that this is where we are investing in cloud. We want cloud to be the best place, to be the preferred place for the developer to host Umbraco. And with that, with the new product management thing that I was talking about, getting your inputs, I'll give you an invitation to invite me over to come and talk to you. So if you want to use cloud and you don't, or if you do, or if you don't care about cloud and want to talk to me about CMS, invite me over. I plan on traveling in Q1 to around Scandinavia, to Benelux, to UK. Probably other than that, I'll be doing it remotely. But I plan on actually going here physically to talk to people that wants me to be there. So go to umbra.co/roadshow or scan this QR code, and I'll be super happy to talk to you, to hear your ideas, to hear your frustrations. Maybe I can clear up some stuff, but mostly I'll just I just want to hear what your thoughts are and where you think we should be going. I'm almost out of time now, so I'll not be too long for this. I feel like we've been traveling up a hill for the last couple of years in Umbraco, and now we've reached the top. And you have this fantastic view. There's just there's a big horizon, and there's so many beautiful things in front of us. We've done some mandatory stuff that took a lot of time with the new cloud infrastructure, with all of the work about Umbraco 9. These were like mandatory projects that we know we needed to do in order to stay relevant. But now we're here. Of course, we still need to talk about back office, and I'll have just one point about that in a second. But I want to just recognize that we've reached like a peak, and now there's just a beautiful horizon in front of us. And what I was inviting you to before was help me guide Umbraco to what direction we should go from this top. Talking about the back office, as I said, people still ask me, when are we getting rid of AngularJS, or is it going to be Vue.js, or what's it going to be like? If you haven't heard, the project or the plan are these 3 points. We will start out by building a UI library. That way that we know you can have the UI that feels and looks like Umbraco. You can use it in the back office, or we can use it in the back office. You can use it for packages in the back office. We can use it in the cloud portal. If you're building projects that are related to Umbraco, or if you just think our date pickers look nice, you can use the UI library in your projects, and we can actually do that today. And on the next slide, I'll show you how. Then the second part of this is that we're defining the extension API. There's an open RFC right now about this. So if you haven't, go read the RFC, give us your feedback. It will close in about 2 weeks, so that's the deadline to get your points in, and then by design, that's when we start the actual rebuild. So we've built a pretty hard wall right here, because one of the problems of the current back office is that the actual implementation and the API is super coupled, and that's what makes it so hard to switch, because everybody depends on how we build back office, and that's not how we want to do it anymore. So we're defining an API, and that's what you get to work with. And then however HQ and contributors wants to build the back office, if you're just building a package or if you're just building an extension, that shouldn't matter to you. Like, you can choose to use the same technology if you want to, but you don't have to. You can choose whatever you'd like. So that's the kind of the trajectory we want to do with back office. And as I said, with the UI library, it's actually out now. It's still 0 point something. It's not I would say, play with it now. I'm using it myself in my hobby projects as well. Once we feel ready about it, once we feel it's a 1.0, we will probably put it in the current back office as well, so packages can start using it today. It doesn't make any sense to start retrofitting it back into the back office, because we need to rebuild all of the back office stuff anyway. But if your packages have significant UI and you want to, keep up to date, keep looking the way that Umbraco does, you should or you can start using it today in your packages, or when it ships with back office in your packages, and that will also start to get you acquainted with what web components are, how they work with the framework that you like, and that is also a lot of how the API will look. The API is kind of built on top of web standards with web components. So if you want to see them today, go to uui.umbraco.com. There's a storybook that shows up a lot of the components. They will be nothing new to you, because they're just how back office looks today. So no surprises. And more components are there. If you go to the repository on GitHub, you can see that there's probably 20 more components that just needs a little bit of polish before they can be shipped as well. And we'll continue to add new components to the UI library as we go on. And I think actually later today, my colleague Julia from the front-end team will talk about how you can use some of this today and give a nice demo of it. So I'll try not to spoil any more of what she'll be saying. Sorry, Julia, if I did. So staying relevant to us is, of course, we need to be able to still push on what Umbraco is, what problems it should solve, how it solves them the best. We want to continue to be the preferred CMS for editors and for developers. This has always been what Umbraco was about. This is what makes us stand out amongst a lot of the other CMSs, that we have both of these, and we'll continue that focus. That means friendliness. I already talked about this. We want to continue to be more and more friendly, to make a low barrier of entry to the software as well as to the community. That means documentation, it means good code quality, it means following best practices, all of that. Great tooling. Then we want to, also cater to the bigger projects that run on Umbraco already today. We have lots of requests for more complicated features, and we want to acknowledge some of these. We've spent a lot of time in the last year working on UI library, working on Umbraco 9, and it's time to start also shipping some more features. There will be no promises today. Just let me clear that out. I can't tell you when or what exactly will be coming, but we're looking into building a grid that's based on the block instead, being able to do variations on a block level instead of on the property level if you're using the block. Having more fine-grained permissions so that you could, say this editor can only add or edit this variant or this language. Features that are, that will help anybody, but will make Umbraco even more relevant to the bigger projects. And of course, for cloud, that means more scaling options, being able to scale your project super fast and super easy just by by the click of a button, like you do if you were running your own project in Azure, right? Dedicated servers, more flexible environments, bringing your own Git, handling your secrets. All of this stuff is features that we want to build that will make Umbraco even more relevant for everybody, really. Then, of course, privacy is a thing, and it will continue to be. not only do we have to keep your data safe, but we also need to make sure that you can keep your customers' data secure. We have, of course, plans to make a new data center for cloud, so that cloud doesn't have to be in EUC West, where it is today, which is Holland, I guess. Maybe there should be a UK one. The first one we will add is the US one, and I'm sure that most of you understand programming enough to know that once we can handle 2, it's probably also easier to handle 3 and 4. So there will be a lot of work to be able to handle 2, but then after that we will consider what regions to add after that. So if having, for instance, a UK region is super important to you and to your business, please come talk to me about it. Tell me that it's important to you so that I know. Yeah, this is also one of the areas where we want to invest. We need to do a better job with helping you handle privacy for your customers. So we're hiring in this area. That's what I was trying to say. Developer experience, I think I talked about this already. Headless is of course also a big thing that we need to stay on top of, and I'm sure we'll talk a lot more in the breaks about this, maybe even some of the talks about this. And we know that Headless is important, and we want to invest in this. We are actually starting a new, from January it's going to be a 3-person team at HQ dedicated to working on our Headless offering. And then of course, with the best of breed, the DXP, you've heard probably us talk about this in a very commercial way at Code Garden and stuff. I just wanted to, kind of take it down, make it relatable, make it easy, take away a little bit of the marketing buzz and tell you that what we want to do is we want to make sure that there's an attractive ecosystem to build your business on. So if your business runs on Umbraco, we want to make it easier for you. We want to make it more convenient for you. If your company is a small one, maybe we can help you even do some of the services for you so that you can actually take a break every once in a while. Maybe we can help you with licensing. Maybe we can help you with, we have lots of ideas, but again, as the point of this is, come talk to me, tell me what you want, how we can help you make Umbraco even better for you to run your business on. Then we want to make sure that if you're running a business that's not built on Umbraco or built only for Umbraco, that it still makes sense to integrate it into Umbraco, that there's a good return on investment on that. And then we want to make sure that there are packages available for most integrations. I know that we can never build a package that handles all of your integration issues, but we want to make sure that when your customer searches for Umbraco and HubSpot or Umbraco and Commerce Tools or Umbraco and whatever other, they should find that there is an existing integration so that they know it's possible. And then it's probably up to you and your agencies to actually build out the real implementation, and that's fine. That's why we want it to. That's how we want it to be. So. Ending, what do you think? That's the point of my story. Come talk to me today. If you don't talk to me today, if you're not in the London venue, then hit me up on Twitter, write me an email. My email is fbb@umbraco.com. And come talk to me. Engage in the community, and that's it. We make Umbraco together. Thank you, and invite me over, and then I think I'll give it back to Callum.